Hello everyone, it's Leonette. Welcome back to DIY Beauty on Purpose. And if this is your first time here, welcome. So today I am working on 3 farmhouse signs, and I'm going to try to make them as different as possible. Although they're going to be a little bit similar because they're going to have the style and colors that I love for my home. But what I want to focus on is on the different techniques that you can use if you don't have, let's say, Cricut, or if you don't have one thing or another. So I'm also going to be using scrap wood. I love using scrap wood because you save money. I mean, why not? So these are all boards that I'm going to be using that I have used, in other projects and are left over. All right, so the first one, as you saw me doing there, I was painting it. This board, again, is scrap, so I just grabbed it. I didn't really measure it, but it's about 24 inches by, like, let's see if my ruler says there. I don't know. It's pretty long and it's not that tall. So I thought it would be perfect for the sign that I'm about to show you. So I painted it with chalk paint in the Linen White by Rust-Oleum, and I did 2 coats. Now I added a couple stripes with the permanent marker to kind of look like shiplap. Originally, I wanted to keep it like this, you know, kind of like long planks of shiplap, and then I thought about doing something different that I have not done yet, so I'm really excited. So I did distress it just a bit and sanded it down on the edges. So what I decided to do was, instead of doing long strips or long planks of shiplap, I thought about doing smaller ones. So I took the same, is that a ruler? I forget what it's called. And I am going to make vertical lines, and I'm going to kind of scatter them, and not too many, but I want the planks to be about that long. So that's about maybe about 18 inches long. And so now I'm going to do the one on the bottom, and again staggering the lines so they look like what real shiplap would look like, and or maybe even tile. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'll do the same thing on the bottom. So once I was done with that, I thought it would be super cute to add a couple dots on each end of each plank to kind of resemble screws or nails, so that it looks like real planks. All right, so now that I have the board planked, I am going to use this stencil. So this is the first technique that you can use if you are making a sign, is using stencils. It's not a, it's a no-brainer. Stencils are really fun to use. I use them all the time. I have collected through the years a variety of them, and I really enjoy having them. Sometimes I use just a portion of them. Sometimes I use the whole thing. I really have gotten creative on how I use them, so really excited. So anyways, I'm going to do this one here that I purchased. I want to say it was on Amazon. I will link it down below if I find it. But if you pretty much Google Simply Blessed stencils, you'll find it. But I'll have it linked down below if it is. It's either going to be on my Amazon store, or it's going to be just linked down below if it was not from Amazon. I am using a stencil brush or stencil sponge that I got at Walmart. It comes in a little packet with a variety of sizes, and I think it's pretty good for the quality and the price. I'm using Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the Country Gray. It's a really beautiful gray, and I'm just gonna do one coat, just a really good coat. I am not doing heavy paint. But I'm going back if I feel like I need to see a little bit more darkness in the gray, but I believe I just did 1 and maybe 1.5 here and there. I like to remove the stencils as soon as I'm done. I don't think with this kind of stencil you have to, but I always done it, so that's just what I'm doing. And there's what the stencil looks like. So now, because this board was a little on the longer side and I did place the stencil to the right of the board, I am now reusing some or a wreath that I got, oh my gosh, I don't even remember. It was thrifted a while ago and I have used it in several projects. And this boxwood I have also used in several projects, and I'm just reusing it. I love to reuse my florals. So instead of hot glue, I'm just going to kind of like squeeze it in between the branches, and I'm gonna add leftover rope that I have had from another project as well, and I'm going to staple it, and then we'll be done with this project or this sign. There you have it. There's the first one. I gotta say, this is probably my favorite of all. It's just beautiful. I think it's a good size for being scrap wood. I love that it's gray words, and I just like the planked board. It's different. I've never done that before. I just think it looks simple, but yeah, very farmhouse. Love it. Alright guys, for my second sign, I am going to again use some scrap wood from a previous project, and I believe I'm not 100% sure, but I believe most of this scrap wood actually came from boards that I got free at the hardware store. And I did record that video, so I'll have it linked out below. I'm not saying it's going to be free every time. This particular time that I went, it was free because of some technical difficulties at the cash register, but normally if they have scrap wood, it's very inexpensive, and that's where I get a lot of my scrap wood. And then a lot of times after I use it, I keep the pieces that are left for stuff like this. All right, so I'm doing the same thing. I'm gonna add 2 coats of the Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white, and I'm just using a chippy, inexpensive brush. Boy, I have had this brush for so long too, and it just does a good job for projects like these. So once it was fully dry, I am going to now use a different technique, and I'm sure you've seen other YouTubers do it. This is my first time doing it this way, and I got this carbon paper from Amazon. It is in my Amazon store, link down below. Very, very surprised at the quality of it. Very good quality, and it brought all these little tools to trace, and I thought it was pretty cool. They have different thickness on the ends. Now you can use a pen, you don't have to use these things, but since it came with it, I figured I'd use it. So now I'm going to be trimming the top and the bottom with this leftover piece of wood that I have. So I'm just measuring to ensure that I put the words where I want them to be before I start tracing them. So basically, you just want to print on a regular printer. I literally use Word document to do this. And I just wrote or typed, bless this home. This is what I wanted to put on it. And then I put the carbon paper in between the board and the paper. And now I'm just tracing it. I think if you use a pen, it actually may not be a bad idea, or even a colored pencil, because then you'll know where you're at as you're tracing. At times, I kind of like lost where I was, but it's no big deal. It's not like it's gonna ruin it if you do it again. So basically I'm just tracing it, and then I'll be filling it in. And there's what it looks like. So it doesn't look perfect, obviously, but I am now going to then fill it in with a permanent marker. And yeah, that's it. I mean, this is pretty simple. If you do not own a stencil, if you don't own a Cricut, what a beautiful way to just have whatever sign you want, whatever you want it to say, without having to have equipment that maybe you may not have, or supplies that you may not have. So pretty cool. Again, I'll have the carbon paper and the tools linked in my Amazon store down below in the description box. All right, so after I was done tracing and filling in the words, I am now, again, this was a piece of plank wood that I had left over from when I planked the top of a dresser that I did recently. And I thought, what a perfect size to add to this little sign. So it was already stained. I didn't have to stain it. It was just left over because I made a wrong cut. But so there you have it. I cut to size. I measured and I cut to size using my miter saw in the garage. And now for this part here, if you do not have a brad nailer like I'm using here, you can certainly use E6000, or you can use hot glue. Obviously hot glue would not be, you would have to make sure that it's not hung or anything to make sure that it's not going to fall. But E6000 or even wood glue would work perfectly fine. But in this case, I had the brad nailer, so that's just what I'm using. And then just to finish it off, I'm just going to add this piece of jute rope. And honestly, you guys, this is also from a previous project. I do not waste anything. I kept it, and I have this scrap wood and basket that I keep wood and fabric and ribbon and stuff. So I pulled it from there. I knotted the ends, and then I'm just stapling to the top, and that's it. Look how beautiful this looks. So easy. And using leftover things. I mean, it was not expensive. Yes, I had to buy the carbon paper because I didn't have it yet. But now that I have it, I can do other projects, and I'm sure I'm going to get my money worth out of it. And it's not that expensive anyways. All right, so for my third and final sign, I'm again doing a farmhouse style sign. And once again, I'm using scrap wood and my favorite paint, chalk paint, and the Rust-Oleum and the linen white. And this one, I only did one coat. It was pretty heavy coat, but I thought I would need two, but it didn't. It has really good coverage. And I did paint the sides. Always forget to paint the sides. So there's a little tip for you. Don't forget to paint the sides. All right, so I'm going to take these little terracotta oh my god, pot that I got at the Dollar Tree. It comes in little packs of 3. I already had it here, so I thought I would use it for this sign. And I marked where I kind of wanted it on the sign, and I'm just drilling a couple holes. Once again, if you do not have a drill or the tools, all you have to do is just E6000 it or hot glue it, because it's not going to be heavy what I'm going to put inside of it. But again, I had the tools, so that's what I am using. I used a Cricut. So this is the third technique that you can use and that I have used to make many signs, is to use the Cricut and some vinyl. And this transfer tape. I got to tell you a little bit about this transfer tape. I am in love. This is like a game changer for me. One of my least favorite things about using the Cricut is having to use that very, very sticky, strong clear contact paper that just made things so difficult. This has the same texture and the same stickiness as painter's tape, but it comes in a huge, like 12-inch roll, and I don't know how many feet long. I have it linked down below in my Amazon store as well if you want to take a look at it. Awesome tape. All right, so after I placed the stencil, you saw that when I was blabbing about that. And so now I'm going to take the little pot and I'm going to paint with the same gray paint that I used on my first sign, the Country Gray by Rust-Oleum. Using my chippy brush, I only had to do one coat, and I'm just going to cover the whole thing, and then half of the inside as well in case you see that part through the greenery that I will be adding. Alright, so now I am dry brushing a little bit of white paint, chalk paint by Rust-Oleum and Linen White to give it a little bit of a, I was looking for like a concrete look maybe. So I am just dry brushing it, very little paint on the brush, and doing it on the side to side motion, keeping that round feel to it. And it dried pretty quickly because it's dry brushed. Now I cut a piece of jute twine, and I am going to use the little tool that I use for my carbon paper. This is not officially the tool for this, but I just needed something to thread it in through. And I'm just going to put the little pot there and tie it in the back. Again, if you do not have the drill or the tools to drill the holes, you can just glue it on the board because it's not going to be heavy. And then I grabbed a piece of rope. It almost looks like jute twine, but it's not. It's more of a rope. I got this on Amazon, and I believe it's also on my Amazon store, linked down below. And I'm just going to wrap it a few times in the front and just make a simple knot and cut the excess. And then I'm just adding some greenery that I have had for so long. And there you have it. That's it. That is how it looks. It's so cute. I love it. It's so simple. And that is it for today, guys. I hope you learned something. I hope it inspires you. Sometimes you don't need the fancy tools or equipment. Sometimes all you need is just a Sharpie. But guys, I hope you have a blessed day, and thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time to watch till the end. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I, as always, invite you to do so right down below this video. Check out my Amazon store, check out my merchandise, and guys, I hope you have a blessed day.